heard a boom after 30 minutes or so that suggested that an obstruction was shifting, and the water began to descend. A few minutes before, we tried to light cigarettes and given up because of the air was too foul, but we felt a sweet draught that suggested a hole in the middle obstruction was clearing at the very top to allow air to flow through and be sucked down the great waterfall at the 40-foot. And then after a further 20 minutes, the water level had dropped for sufficiently that we heard a squeak of air through the middle, the over passage, the upper passage in the upper set of squeezes. You have never seen 3 quite large cavers exit through a waterlogged squeeze in the upstream direction faster than we did on that occasion. And we were back in the approach, the water chamber, on the safe side with patient David Farr, and we headed up towards the exit. We found that the normal routes out from the Long Pretty Way were still impossible. Michael Boone took the more usable of the 2 electric lights we had between us and disappeared down one of the junction passages and did not return. So we assumed that the water had dropped a bit further and it was now feasible to go into the main water passage, the mainstream passage in Upper Swildon, and get a bit further. We headed out and we found Frank Darban with his touring party of 2 or 3 inexperienced cavers waiting in the thundering water on the edge of the thundering waterfall just before the cave entrance. Michael Boone had disappeared up into it and not come back, so presumably he had got out. I went up into it, and it was the nearest thing I've ever done to a vertical sump, but the normal entrance, which is a roughly triangular entrance of concrete with a steel seal around the edge where the gate to prohibit illegal entry to the cave is fitted. The entrance was full, but there was a bit of air and daylight to be seen on one side. There was Howard Kenny peering in, and he said, gave me a smile and said calmly, shouted calmly because it was a very noisy location, "Derek, if you give me your hand, I can give you a pull up." So I reach up, God bless him, get hold of Howard's hand, quick move up through the pouring water. I'm out in stocking feet without gear in the flooded field. Howard reached back down and fished out George Pointing and Norman Tuck and Frank Darwin and his party in succession. It was, checking my notes, it was about 6:15. We'd gone down at 3:30, between 3:15 and 3:30, so it was 3 hours. Our adventure had lasted for 3 hours. We trudged back to Mr. Main's barn in Priddy, where everybody assembles to pay him the shilling he charged in those days and per person, and to get dressed. I changed into my ordinary gear. George Pointing had banged his elbow badly doing the vertical sump exit passage. and it was swelling up. The amended rescue organisation was forming up, preparing to go in and try and get people up the 40 as soon as it became possible. Led by Luke Devonish, he took a look at George's swelling elbow and called up on his field telephone. He called Wells Hospital because it looked as if it might be severely damaged and need immediate attention. So I drove George Pointing straight down to the Wells Hospital. It was in fact just a colossal bruise and response. It was treated, and I got back to Mains Bar, I guess, round about 8:30.